And we're here with Jojo Girard, if anybody remembers Jojo Girard from back in the new Sunny FM days, which was back in what year, Joe?
I got here in 88, and I think I left in 94, so 1988 to 1994.
Okay, and you did a lot in those few years, that's for sure.
It was, I found some photos, and I bet that's the same 6 years that I've been in Grand Rapids, and it seems like we did twice as much stuff, promotionally speaking, at a radio station than we do nowadays. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sunny FM, when it came, it really hit everybody by storm. Of course, Jim Biggins preceded you in the morning.
Yeah.
But he was like the money guy or something?
Yeah, he was handing out cash. He would go in a limo dressed in a tuxedo. And at first, nobody knew who he was. And I think it was before the station came on the air.
Right.
And then,
that's right.
It just had come on the air and was just playing music. And then, so this guy would show up with cash and he'd hand it out. And I hope you get a chance to interview Jim because he has some great stories about that.
Oh, yeah. Jim would have been here this weekend, but unfortunately he had to bring a car somewhere or something. Anyway. But anyway, I'm so glad to have you here. It's been years since you and I actually talked, too, because, I've known you from right around 88, I think it was, or 87. Yeah, 88. Yeah. Back when I worked at Sunny FM, kind of a part-timer over there. And now I got to ask you, as far as radio goes, was that your first radio job?
No. I'd started in Gaylord, Michigan at a small 3,000 watt. Well, actually, when I got there, it was a small AM station that was only on during the daytime. And so I worked there 3 years in Gaylord, Michigan. And then I moved out west to San Diego, California. But it's a big market. So I worked in Tijuana, Mexico at a Mexican radio station for 3 years.
Now, do you speak Spanish?
A poquito. A little bit. It's weird. I could swear at you in Spanish.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird situation because the transmitter and the studio was in this guy's house.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of a covert, but not covert. And Mexico is a different country than There's no doubt about that. So they had a fake studio up top that they had a local person in, and a Mexican national who would sit there and pretend to be working, and then I would be in the basement broadcasting for real out of a small studio they had down there.
Right.
And then we would broadcast back to the San Diego market in English, and then once an hour we had to give the ID in Spanish. Yeah.
Which, Britta, she worked at a Spanish radio station, too, one of her first gigs, and she gave the ID, and she did it really, really well. Now, okay, you got the ID for the Spanish radio station you worked at?
Aquí está FM, Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. 92.5 FM.
Oh, wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I don't know if she told you this, but they used to, and I don't know where she worked, but they used to do this thing called the Mexican National Hour.
Okay.
Every Sunday night, we would turn the station back over. It was in English most of the time. If you didn't hear that ID every hour, you would think it was just a regular radio station in the San Diego market.
Okay.
But they had to have a certain amount of Mexican programming, so they had this Mexican National Hour that was on. Well, for a while, political tensions got real tense in Mexico. There was a really hotly contested election. So they would have a guy with an M16 rifle stationed outside the door, a military, army staff member, just in case somebody tried to take over the radio station during his speech. It was very uneasy.
Yeah.
Very uneasy.
Yeah, that's how I told the story to her about when they wanted to send me down to Arizona, right on the Mexican border, to run a little AM radio station, Mexican radio station, and where the drugs were running big and everything else. And it's like, nah, okay, I'll stay here, thanks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was down there when, I don't know if you remember, I think his name was Enrique Camarena. He was a FBI agent who had infiltrated one of the cartels as an undercover officer, and they figured out who he was, and they killed him. Yeah. They shut down the border for 4 days. You couldn't cross it. So I was stuck in Mexico for 4 days. I would sleep at the station.
You slept at the station. Oh, geez. Yeah.
So
people don't know what we go. That's kind of the reason why I want to do this. People didn't know what we went through as, being in radio. We did all kinds of crazy things, that's for sure. Had a lot of fun, but we had to do some things that, like I say, I remember at Sunny FM, but I had to run to the station over in Lansing a couple times for Bob Goodrich because there was nobody there to fill in for him, so he needed somebody, so he'd send me over there, after doing an overnight shift, and it's like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. But anyway, let's get back to you. Now, as far as you started over there, what drove you over here to the Muskegon market?
Well, when you're young, and it's kind of cool to work in Mexico, but then after a while, I'm thinking about getting married and settling down, and it's not really in the San Diego market's very expensive to live in. So I started looking for jobs back, in Michigan or in the Midwest, where I could kind of, and there was no future really at that station because there was, I wasn't honing my craft,
Yeah.
So an ad popped up in the old Radio and Records magazine for Sunny FM. So I applied to a guy named Chuck Finney, who was Goodrich's corporate program director.
Yeah.
Right. And he got back in touch with me, and he's like, "Why would you want to leave San Diego to come back to Michigan?" And I said, "I heard good things about this station, and I think it would be good for me to grow my career." And I think it was the best move I ever made, to be honest with you.
You pretty much got away with just about anything over at Sunny FM, too. Yeah.
They encourage it. I think anything short of losing the license.
Which came close a few times.
Yeah, probably did. I don't know. I know some people came and looked at the files once or twice. Yeah, so it was a good place. They really encouraged personality radio, and they also taught you. I mean, they would sit down and do air checks with you.
Right.
And I think it was a little bit more of a craft back then. I don't know if they have that now, where people would, like, I don't know if you ever did an air check session.
With Bob? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Bob
and the program director.
Yeah. And you'd sit down and you'd go over your show and you'd learn how to get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was a good career move, is because they really encouraged personality radio.
Uh-huh.
And they looked out so you weren't, awful.
Right.
They honed your sound so you sounded good.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know if that ever worked for me, but yeah, I remember.
Oh, you were good, Oscar. Come on.
I remember being there. I know that was to believe it or not, of all radio stations I worked at, that was probably the most fun I ever had, was working there at Sunny FM. We did have a lot of fun doing Talking Tunes on Eagle, but Sunny FM, I mean, it was just, you got to do it. The one thing I wanted you to talk about now, people probably don't realize too, when we had live phone calls come in, they sounded live, but we would record them on reel-to-reel.
Right.
And you were a master at editing these things to make them sound good, I thought.
Yeah, Rich Michaels, who was at WVIC at the time, the morning man, did like a little clinic for us on how to edit phone calls quickly.
Yeah.
And it was indispensable. But back then, I mean, you've probably talked about this before. You had a reel-to-reel player that they would come in on, and you would take them and splice them with a razor blade.
Yeah.
And then tape them. And while that's happening, a song's playing and it's running out.
Right.
And back then there wasn't a computer we could put all the music on, so you had to get that call edited, make sure the song was still playing, or get another song in there if you weren't done, and line it up. And it was not easy, but it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, yeah. And I think everybody had their own tape too. We each had our own tape. But
and then you would also lose phone calls. Like a lot of times you'd get a phone call and you go, okay, I can't use that today, but I'll save it.
Yeah.
And then you'd lose it, or you'd accidentally tape
over it. Yeah.
Stuff you'd have like good material on there, and you tape over it, and you're like, because it doesn't come back. I mean, it's not. In the digital age, we can bring things back sometimes,
right.
Not always. Even digitally, you lose stuff. But man, if you lost something, and you would be mad.
I
remember just being mad at myself. It's like, God. Even though in the long grand scheme of things, it really didn't matter. But at the time when you're young and you're like, yeah. I don't know if Blaine Ensley was still there or not. Do you remember Blaine? I
remember Blaine,
Jim's producer, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys had producers. See, that's another thing, too, with Sunny FM. We had everything. I mean, it was like they really rolled out the carpet for the talent. I mean, everybody got producers. They've got
people would screen phone calls. Basically, a producer at Sunny was somebody who'd screen phone calls, put them on hold, or run out and do stuff for you while you were on the air.
Yeah, you kind of a gopher.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had our public relations person. I guess that was what they called her, Jeannie Valmer.
Yeah, well, we had a promotions department.
Department, and she was part of that.
And that's something that I think Sunny was really good at.
Yeah.
And Jeannie was really good at her job.
Oh, yeah.
Because we would come up with ideas, and then she would, find the stuff so we could execute them. And we would go out in the community. That's the thing when I noticed, and I looking at the photos, is we were out almost every day out, shaking hands, talking to people.
Right. And I got some really good stories about, you've got some really good stories about that too, and I would work with you in a few other things too. But Jeannie Valmer, like I say, I met her, I've seen her again after all these years. It's been 30 years since we were at Sunny FM. And
I was just thinking about that the other day.
yeah,
Whoa.
30 years, man. And but when Sunny FM came to town, you guys really took over the market, though. I mean, because people have never heard the stuff that you were getting away with on Sunny FM.
Yeah. And it was also there. That was the heyday of kind of, and I hate using this term, but kind of a shock jock.
Yeah.
Getting out there, and I don't think we were terribly shocking. But
No.
we pushed the envelope a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But, the thing is, you'd go out and do stunts.
Yeah.
To get attention.
Yeah.
It was crowded.
And you were the king.
Yeah. And we used to go out and like throw pumpkins off the roof of the old Omni Fitness Center, and one time for Gallagher tickets, I think we smashed stuff in the parking lot. People would bring stuff we'd had a giant sledgehammer, and we just.
That was kind of during the Letterman years, wasn't it? Or
yeah, it was a fun time to be in radio because I think everything was a go. Yeah. That you could try different things, and if you failed and it didn't work, I mean, Lord knows I did enough promotions where I would try to get people to show up and nobody would show up.
Really?
We did. Yeah, we did that a couple times, or few people.
Yeah. Well, I remember the hands-on boat one. I was there during that, and that was pretty amazing. I thought a couple of them were going to die of heart attacks, but I wasn't sure.
The other thing, we gave away a above-ground pool, and the people had to stay in the pool for a whole weekend. And then we found out that, like halfway through, that these people would get hypothermia.
Oh, jeez.
So we had to heat the water. And yeah, there was a couple times. You're right. I thought people were going to die.
Yeah. I think these weren't exactly real well thought out plans, but we tried them. I think we were the first ones to do stuff like that. Sunday was the first one to do things like that. So.
No. Yeah, it was a lot of them weren't thought out.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite people? I mean, you and I have talked about Jeannie Valmer, of course. She was one of my favorites, and of course Ranger Bob. But
we had so many great staff members. I'm trying to think of. There was a time. When Jim Richards was a program director, that I think everybody on that station wound up doing mornings at a major market. So you had me in mornings, then Jim, who became super high up at Clear Channel, which is now iHeart.
Right.
I don't think he ever did mornings, but he was a big program director. So it was me, then him, then Chris. God, his name is Fernando Ventura, but on the air here, I think he went by Chris Thompson.
Okay.
But he's still on the air doing mornings in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then Luke Sanders, I think, did mornings in Milwaukee for a while. So that whole lineup was pretty. Oh, and then we had Taz Turnbow. He did mornings in Denver. He was on that staff too.
Okay.
His name, and he used to work at GRD, and his name at GRD was Jojo Turnbow. But then he came to work here, and I already had that name. And I told him, I said, we have Jojo. We have two Jojos, but they're like, nah, we can't do that. So they made him change his name to Taz.
Taz.
Yeah.
So now, Jojo, how did you get that name?
Well, that nickname came here because I was Big Al Girard in San Diego, and then that was based on Al Jarreau, the old jazz singer.
Okay.
Girard's my middle name. So,
okay.
So I was Big Al Girard, and then I came here. The guy who hired me was a guy named David Wood, and he wanted me to. I was doing nights at the time. I was hired to do nights first, and so they said, "Well, I came up with a name for you. It's Smokin' Joe," and I'm like, "Yeah."
At Smokin' Joe's Cafe.
So I didn't like it too much. I tried it like the first couple nights I was on the air, and I'm like, nope. So I came up with JoJo. It's based on a high school nickname of mine. My real name's Howard.
Okay.
So my high school friends called me Howard Johnson, and that of course became Hojo, and that became JoJo. So
okay.
That's where
because now I got the story from I don't know if you remember Bob Simonson, the engineer. Yeah. He said he's the one that gave you the name JoJo. But anyway, just that's what he said.
Well, it could,
that's 30 years ago, so
that could have happened because I was very adamant in the building that I didn't want to be Smokin' Joe. So
yeah,
and somebody could have thrown JoJo out there. It was close enough to my high school nickname. So, I'm not going to doubt his story.
Yeah, I don't know either.
My memory's not that great.
Mine either, especially 30 years. Yeah. That's a long time. Now, other things in radio that you did over there that you remember some of the part-timers too. Like one of my favorites that I got the job there from Lou Mitchell, Sweet Lou.
Sweet Lou, I still
Yeah.
stay in touch with. Yeah, he's up in, I think, Gaylord now.
Yeah.
He works in, I think, is he a chiropractor?
Or something like that. Yeah. Therapist, physical therapist, something like
Yeah,
that.
he went to Mona Shores.
Yeah. He still comes back here to town and plays music every once in a while.
Yeah, he's actually pretty good. And he was, I think, still in high school doing weekends when he got started here.
Well, I met him the first time I met him. He worked for us part-time over at Rock 95 when I was over there in 80-something.
So.
And then he got me the job. He's the one that actually got me the job at Sunny FM.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Mike Rich,
used to do weekends, yeah.
Nasty Man, yeah.
He's over in Grand Rapids now.
Yeah.
JJ Dooling did afternoons when I first started. Jim Biggins was in mornings.
Mark Frost, of course.
Mark Frost did afternoons after I think JJ left. Well, JJ left and I did afternoons for a while. Then Jim left and I went to mornings. And then I think Mark went to afternoons when I went to mornings.
Okay.
And there was some. And then Ranger Bob was there for a long time, and he went to MUS. And
did he? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Then Jay Williams was there doing overnights. Craig Russell did overnights for a little bit, and good Lord, a lot of people went through there. A lot of talented people. Went through
yeah. That was one of the most talented stations I've ever worked at. Yeah. That's for sure. Now, what made you leave Sunny FM?
They had a change in management there, and this is a great story. The guy who hired me, David Wood, had gone to Baltimore and had taken a job at Mix 106.5 there. And he left. This is all right, so I'll get into this in a minute. So David was in Baltimore, and I was going on vacation to Baltimore. Some friends of ours lived down there. And we had tickets to the Orioles game that night, and it was 1994. And that was the year baseball went on strike. The night we got there, they went on strike, so our tickets now were no good for the next night. And I knew David lived there, so I said, I'll give him a call. Maybe he'd want to, hook up for a drink or something, because now I got nothing to do. So I called him up, and so we went over to his house in Baltimore and had dinner, me and my wife, and he said, hey, how'd you like to come work for me? Huh. And I'm here? He goes, yeah, I just had a guy. He just hired a guy for morning drive. He had hired a team for morning drives. Two guys from different markets. He was going to team them up. And one was Kenny Campbell, who became my partner, and the other guy was Steve Reynolds, who I think is a consultant now. And Steve said, nah, you know what? I decided I'm not going to come to Baltimore. He was in a relationship, didn't want to come or whatever. I don't know what his deal was. But now he had this guy, nobody to pair him with. So I said, sure.
Yeah.
I was disenfranchised at Sunny at that time.
Huh.
So I sent a tape in.
Is this after Goodrich left or sold it or no?
No, Goodrich is still there. Goodrich still owned it. They just had gone to a different general manager, and it wasn't as fun as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I don't blame them.
Did they reel you in a little bit or something? Or
yeah, they were. It was just a difference of styles. Tim Helsing had a very free flowing style. Kind of. The prior general managers there had been very, and I don't want to say they were uptight, but they were uptight. So I wasn't really looking for another job, but they offered it to me, and I went and did an audition with them in Baltimore, and I really liked this guy. We got along really well.
Yeah.
So we formed a morning show team, and
did you like the team thing better than solo? Or?
Oh, a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that much? Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure when you're working by yourself to come up with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm finding out now, because I'm by myself at Grand Rapids now at WFGR. But, it was...
Now, where is that on the dial? I mean, they can get it here in Muskegon. Sort of.
It comes in real well here. It's
kind
of... it's only 3,000 watts, and I think it's on a very low stick.
Oh, really?
It's at 98.7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3,000 watts, that's not bad, because I do get it anyway here once in a while.
Although I do get calls over there every once in a while from people in Norton Shores. Going,
Jojo, I remember you.
Exactly.
All right.
In fact, there's a couple of contest pigs we had at Sunny that are contest pigs.
Contest pigs.
And I use that in a very nice term.
Yeah, sure you do.
I give people, if they're going to listen and play the game, God bless them. You know? If you get in more often than other people, it's because you're trying harder.
Oh, yeah. I got some cousins that are contest pigs over in Wisconsin.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They go out every weekend because they're contest pigs and win every week. Yeah.
You don't pay for a movie ever?
No, never.
Yes.
Now, I reeled you into TV40, and you were happily doing all kinds of goofy stuff with me, and it was great. I was behind the camera. You were in front. You remember Pierre Marquette and talking to Elvis?
Yes.
Yes. That was... That was very. I still got video of that too.
Yeah,
by
we used
the
to
way.
play live bingo, did we not?
Oh yeah, bingo. Yeah,
Yeah.
bingo on TV 40. Yeah, and then of course the one time when you did a LB TV show, I think is what I was doing at that time.
Yeah.
And you did a makeover at Peggy White Nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did. I remember all that stuff, and the guy who owned that was kind of an interesting cat too.
Yeah. Bud Kelly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they would play old movies most of the day,
Yeah.
and every once in a while we'd go live. It was literally in somebody's house over on Airline Road. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it's still there. It actually still is there, but yeah, it's not Bud anymore. But yeah, they
No.
still have it over there.
And he probably made some money selling that though.
No.
No,
I mean, come on, low power TV station, not really a big thing these days.
but it's on cable now though, isn't it?
Well, 393 or something like
is it
that.
really?
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
some god awful number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're scanning channels, do you scan up to 393? I
No,
don't think so.
no.
Yeah. But anyway, you did some great stuff over there. We had a lot of fun over there, and
Yeah, it was interesting. That was an interesting place. It was kind of cool.
and then the one thing that you did that I asked you to do was MC the comedy nights over at the Muskegon Harbor Hilton.
Yeah.
You did that for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it moved over to on Broadway. I think I emceed there for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then he had because I think it was the same guy who owned both places, and I can't think of his name.
Cornell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to have Maxie's. There was a place
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Maxie's. He did comedy night there for a while too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that cat was he's
different-
a really nice guy.
Yeah.
he had a kind of a guy who worked for him who was kind of his bodyguard, kind of a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, you did mess with Cornell. I know that.
No, and he would come over, and the cool thing about those gigs was he'd pay you in cash.
Yeah.
Just come over and just pull a big wad of bills.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we used to do when we were at Sunny not Sunny FM, but Rock 95. Back when Scott Christmas was on the air, we used to do the thing over there at the Hot Legs contest they used to have over there.
Oh yeah. And,
So-
it's funny you bring that up because when I was going through these pictures, do you remember the bikini night they used to have at Walker?
Oh yeah.
yeah. I don't know if they still do that because hockey in Muskegon, of course, always been big over at the Walker Arena, and they used to have we would host this bikini contest every year, and girls and guys, they had male
Really?
guys
Guys
go out there in
too?
speedos.
Oh,
and,
geez.
And I was just looking at the bikinis back then. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean those.
So did you have to judge it?
No, I was MC.
Oh, okay,
I don't know
good.
I don't know who they got to judge it. They got like 3 people, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know. No,
Yeah.
I was just introduce them and stuff. But yeah, we used to do some cool stuff with the hockey team too. In fact, one time I got into goal. They had me play goalie. The hockey players used to come on my show every once in a while, and I started talking about playing goalie, and the guy said, "Well, we'll put you in goal."
Really?
So they got me a goalie outfit, and it was a game they were playing between the Muskegon All-Stars, which is old guys from the old Lumberjacks and Mohawks back in the day, like
Yeah,
Lynn Marguerite and
Wow.
like old hockey players. And then they would play a Red Wing alumni team. So they brought me out there at practice and shot pucks at me. That was the worst thing I ever did.
Really?
I did a lot of stunts.
But
That hurt.
Yeah. That was one thing you said. I should have thought of this a little bit more here before I did this. Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was doing that, I thought to myself, back in the 60s, goalies didn't wear masks.
Wow.
And, you know, you take one off the face and you think, okay, he's got a mask on. That still hurts.
Still
It
hurts,
like
yeah.
jars your head.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine taking a puck off the face?
Yeah, so
Yeah, that was the fun thing about that job was we, like, anything went. And if I had a desire to do anything, I would go on the air.
yeah.
And if I said I wanted to play goalie, like somebody would make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I went bungee jumping once. I went skydiving because of that job. I was like, I've never been skydiving. Some guy in Grant called me up. Well, I'll bring you up here. You know,
Yeah.
they do it just to get mentions on the air.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I did. Did a lot of stupid stuff. I think I dove into Lake Michigan in the winter.
Oh good. That's always fun.
No, no, it's not.
I did go up with the Blue Angels once, and I'll never do it again. But I'm glad I did.
Oh, I did that. Oh no,
Yeah.
it wasn't the Blue Angels. It was a stunt plane at the airfair.
Oh okay.
He was doing loops and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with me.
Just swore I didn't mean to.
Yeah, that's right.
But he was doing loops and stuff, and I think his goal, maybe the Blue Angels' goal with you too, was let's try to get this guy sick.
Yeah. Because they tell you where the bag is before
really?
before you go up, and they make you sign a waiver.
Oh man!
And I'm thinking, oh man, okay, waiver, okay. So yeah, and they were like right next to each other and everything else. It was really it was a great experience that I'll never do again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you enjoy it?
I guess so. I had an enormous headache when I got out. I know that I kissed the ground when I got out.
Because I did not enjoy it. Like you said, kiss the ground. When I got back down, I was like, again, just what you said.
Yeah.
That's fun to do once.
Once, yeah.
God bless people who do that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, and he did this one thing where he went straight up, and it was a prop plane. It wasn't a jet, so I wasn't going as fast as you. He went straight up, and when you do that, apparently, physically, the propeller can't
keep going or something,
so it dies.
Stalls.
And then it does a stall, and then you do a coming down, and then the engine comes back on. You hope. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume he knew what he was doing, but, things go wrong.
Right.
You hear of crashes at airfares, so...
They explained to you how to get your release and all that stuff as far as to get out of the plane and everything.
Going down like this, I don't know if you're going to have time. So that was the coolest part of the job is I got to do, and I was young and crazy. I would never do that stuff.
Oh, no. I wouldn't be able to wake up the next day, I think, if I did it now, that's for sure. But
I can't even remember all the stuff we used to do. We used to do a lot of crazy stuff.
But a lot of the stuff you did for me at Pierre Marquette with Elvis, I mean, you were classic with that because I mean, here's this guy that doesn't even look like Elvis that we're trying to pass off as Elvis, and even his singing wasn't even close. But you did stuff about some of his movies that he did, and you put him with a bunch of women on the beach, and he's in that cheesy Elvis outfit, and you were great doing that stuff though, and you did it all for me just to do it. I mean, that was what was great about it. So,
and what a great place Pierre Marquette. It still is a great place. But man, we used to do Bobby's on the Beach. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And this is again back then. There was like I don't know what it was, but there was this era in the '80s where I thought it was pretty wild. And and Bobby's used to serve shots with live fish in them.
Okay.
And then you do it, and you had like a fish handshake you would do.
Really?
Do it, but I think the health department shut that down. And we would do dances out there too. We would do. We would take our mobile equipment and just do dances out on the beach with the on the pavement there.
Oh yeah. That's what I used to DJ over there sometimes too. In the basement area they had there too.
Yeah, we used to go out to the beaches too in the summertime. Being, of course, on Lake Michigan in the summer was the best.
Oh yeah.
And we were such a big lakeshore station from Holland to like Ludington.
Right.
So we were the station was known everywhere you would go. And we'd take that van out and hand out free soda. Do you remember doing that?
No.
Oh, we used to, we would go, after we got off our morning shift, we would go to one of the beaches with a van and just hand out free soda. It would last about 6 seconds.
Oh,
we would bring a giant cooler.
Yeah.
We had a contract with Pepsi.
Okay.
Fill it with Pepsi products. Pop up there, it's a 90-degree day. We'd pop up the lakeshore. Line of people, 6 minutes we were in and out, but you meet a lot of people and it was a lot of fun.
Well, I remember Sunny FM too. They did give away a lot of stuff that said Sunny FM on it. I mean, I don't have any of it anymore. But did you got pictures? But do you have any of the paraphernalia that they gave away? Because they gave away so much stuff. I wonder if Jeannie would have any
bumper
stuff,
stickers and T-shirts and stuff. Yeah,
you still got that?
Yeah, and those again, we'd take them out to the beach, but the first 5 people would get them.
Oh yeah.
Because we didn't have a lot of them to give away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did. That's the difference between radio then and now. And I hate, there's no difference. I mean, life goes through changes, that.
Right.
So I'm not complaining, but back then, the stations had promotional budgets, and they were, at Sunny, quite high.
Yeah. Well, like I say,
they knew the value of that.
How many stations have like a PR department and, that works with the sales department that has a huge sales department and we work with the jocks and let the jocks do pretty much what they want to do, and it doesn't happen anymore. So
right, and we mentioned all these things that we did, but it was dependent upon people like engineers who could give us remote equipment.
Right.
People like Jeannie who could set it up with the right people and make it look good when we got out there.
Right.
Like Jeannie, if I said I wanted to dress up like a cop, she could get me a police officer uniform. Or,
She was great. She was great. Yeah.
I was just looking at some of these photos. We had a basketball team that would tour, and we'd do kind of like Harlem Globetrotters type stunts.
Yeah.
And I would dress up like if it was Christmas time. I'd dress up as Santa Claus and play basketball. You know?
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing, the Sunny Slammers. That was another thing you guys used to do.
Yeah, we'd go.
I was never asked to be on the team. I can't imagine why, but yeah.
we would go, and that was the cool thing about that is we'd go all over. I think one of the things about Sunny FM was our signal was so strong,
right,
that we'd get into these small towns, like Holton and Pentwater.
Oh yeah.
And they really liked having us come up there because it was a big deal for them,
right?
And that's where we usually went. Like Morley Stanwood, we played a game, and
well, I know I arranged a game in Muskegon Heights with you guys once too to play for raise money for Muskegon Heights. Yeah.
Muskegon Heights. We played Mona Shores, but what we used to travel quite a bit. Holland High. We played Holland High's teachers once.
Yeah.
We played Mason County Eastern.
Oh yeah. Over there by Ludington. Yeah.
Where my family's from, believe it or not.
Yeah.
My dad's family lived there for years.
Yeah.
Before they moved to Saginaw. So yeah, very cool times, man.
So as far as you've talked a little bit about it already, but I mean, as far as some of the people that you're working with now, did they compare kind of with the Sunny FM days, or are you still having fun? I guess in radio. Yeah,
I am. I think it was interesting. The job I took in Grand Rapids, it's basically playing the same music I did when I was at Sunny FM.
I know, I heard. Yeah.
So, and when I first took that job back, it was kind of a throwback to my first radio job, which was at WSAM in Saginaw when I was a kid, because it's just you in a closet, playing tunes. Yeah. And at first, I was like, God, I kind of miss the days of having a big. Because in Baltimore, our show got as big as 6 to 8 people, and a lot of contributors and stuff, and that's great. I enjoyed that a lot, but it was like back to my roots. It was like, God, this is kind of. At first, it was like daunting, and then I'm like, okay, I remember doing this. This is cool.
Well, it was funny because I was driving in the car. I got the station in, and I told my wife, I said, this is exactly the stuff we played at Sunny FM. Now I don't even recognize the music at all on SNX, but but that was great. I mean, it was kind of a flash from the past there for me, hearing all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird too because I do remember that first discussion just before I left Sunny FM, and we the whole time I was here we were at that little building off of right next to
Getty, which is gone now.
Yeah. Right next to Getty Ford Drive, and the whole time I was here, we were in that location, and they were just starting to talk about moving to Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Because our presence over there was never really great. Yeah. But it did impact that market. I mean, we did get in there, and we did have listeners, and I think that they were starting to think about it.
Yeah. Now the one at the old Getty Theater, I didn't realize that's where the original TRU was. The original WQWQ. I found this out later. Now, I always thought that was a fairly brand new building when I came here to town, and it was there because, Sunny FM, you guys had state-of-the-art, at that time, state-of-the-art equipment. Yeah. I mean, you could do just about anything in the studio there.
Right. The story I heard was that old back studio, which was what we called production, which is, if you're not in radio, that's where we make commercials, was the old True AM 16 on air. And the reason why it was so big, it was True AM goes back to the 40s, where they would have live acts come in and perform on the radio.
Right, yeah. Back with this, like KBZ did the same thing back at the Occidental, yeah. But I never knew that until, now I know it. But I mean, back then I'm thinking I was in history in there, in the Sunny FM studios in the old one by the Getty Theater. That was quite an experience. Now that I think about it, it makes me feel kind of warm and fuzzy all over.
Yeah, and Sonny got confused with True because True was the big top 40, I think, at the time. You'd know this more than I would.
Well, not really. I came here in 83, 84. Okay. So.
But I think back in the 70s, True AM was the big top ones. 40 in town. And it's funny because people would confuse the two because there was this comedy bit that I found on MTV's Half-Hour Comedy Hour, which was a TV show. I used to get a lot of TV drops and use them. And this guy did you'll remember this, I think, about a hockey goalie called the Gamper.
Okay.
It was a 3-minute comedy bit about this old hockey goalie who refused to give up and it went on. It was just this hilarious bit. It was a guy by the name of John Tenick, I believe, was his name, and I played it all the time. And then I went away. People used to call for it and ask for it during hockey season. Yeah. Then I went away, and it went away because I don't think anybody saved it. And then when I came back, somebody called and asked me about it, and I'm like, whoa, I don't even know if I could get a copy of it. So I went online and I was searching for it, trying to find it on the internet, because you think everything's on the internet, right? Yeah. So I'm searching around online, and I find a forum where people are discussing old radio memories from Muskegon. Okay. And somebody said, yeah, I remember True AM 16 used to play this. I'm like, no, they didn't. That was me. Because True AM wasn't around when that. Even that comedy bit wasn't even invented when True AM was around.
I think that they ended, because I remember hearing them when I first came to town, True, and but I think it kind of ended 83 or something like that, 83, 84. And
AM Top 40 was probably dying a little bit.
And, AM Top 40. I mean, because, me, I grew up in the Detroit area where CKLW was the thing, And now
we could get CKLW in Saginaw, too, so that was like a big deal for us.
Oh, really?
Dick Burton in the morning,
Dick Burton, the other thing, I don't know if you know anything about the Detroit, TV 50. You remember that at all or no?
Yeah.
Do you remember
Ghoul.
The Ghoul? Yeah, he just passed away.
Yeah.
I used to watch him every Sunday or every week, whatever day he was on. I don't remember anymore.
Well, that station was a big deal because if you got the initial cable offering in Saginaw, Michigan, back in the old days of cable, Channel 50 was involved in that. And you could watch The Ghoul, and it was like a big deal. But by that time, I was kind of too old for it. But they did have like a scary guy in Saginaw that was lame.
Yeah. But the Ghoul was cool. He did all kinds of Froggy and Holy Parma and just different stuff that was very fun.
He'd always blow up the frog puppet.
Blow up Froggy, That was before Mr. Bill. I know. But Bill Kennedy at the movies, used to watch that all the time too. But that was some good times too back in the. I'm glad I found somebody that actually remembers the Ghoul.
Yeah.
Because I was so sad when I saw that he passed away.
Can you I've never tried to watch clips of him on YouTube, but you probably can.
Probably,
right?
Yeah. I never thought of that. You're right.
Yeah.
Because he would, you would watch that show and you would watch a really bad horror movie. I mean, just the worst black and white horror movie you ever saw in your life, just to get to the Ghoul, and he would be on for 5 minutes or whatever doing a bit.
But and he was an old top 40 DJ. And
that's what I was going to say.
Basically, what old top 40 DJs did was we were. Like the time when the records weren't playing, we had to be entertaining and come up with all sorts of weird stuff to do, and that's basically what we were doing.
And I remember now when I used to do the overnights, you would come in the morning, of course, to do your show. I'd try to have your stuff set up for you or whatever, but you had you must have played, I don't know, 30 carts in a row before you even went on the air the first time. You had all kinds of different bits and different routines that you went through.
Yeah,
I was pretty impressed by that. So.
I would constantly tape, and I still have cassette tapes that I find every once in a while in my pile. Who knows if they can still play though? Because I tried to listen to one once and it just broke.
Yeah.
And I actually found a Walkman at Goodwill, but I would find these tapes, and I would just watch TV in the afternoon when I was taking care of my kids when they were really young, and I would just tape off the TV anything that I found to be interesting, and then I would work it somehow into the show.
Yeah, because you were king of drops, that's for sure. Yeah, you had a lot of them.
Man, when I think back, I don't know where I got the energy because I have no energy to do that now. Yeah. It's like, God, what was I doing?
Yeah, it's hard enough just going on Facebook now these days.
Yeah, it's just like, God, I don't know. I look back at those times, Oscar, and I just think that we were fearless. I felt like I was fearless, like I would try anything. And now, and I don't know if it's the industry or if it's just me, but I don't feel that fearless anymore. I will push the envelope a little bit, but it was like I felt like I could do anything. I felt like we could do anything on the air as long as we didn't, and we would try. Yeah. And, the thing is, we talk about successes, but there were a lot of failures too.
Yeah.
I listened to audio and I'm like, holy, what was I thinking?
Well, Sunny FM spoiled me because when I used to get away with just about anything on that station and then going to like MUS, and I think I went to the Oldies and a few other different stations, KBZ again, and I couldn't do what I did there. It was really hard to just stick by the formatted, read the card, get out of it, get into a song, Yeah. So that was rough.
And there were, and I talk about that era being the wild, wild west, but there are even, like, I came from stations like that, too. I mean, there was always that element of it. But personality radio is a little more accepted.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when the bellwether was that...
wasn't in Muskegon still. Even though Sunny FM came around, it still was a little bit rough. They wanted to stick to the format.
No, but when you talk about corporate radio, and because in Baltimore we were pretty wild too. In fact, I was known for crank phone calls, and I would do them live, or not live, but I would actually do them. I wouldn't fake them.
Oh, okay.
And I think that the general manager was under the impression we were faking them. And long story, I got the FBI involved once.
Wow.
It was. I'll tell you two things that happened in a row. 9/11. Okay. In 2001.
Yeah.
And then when Janet Jackson did the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, showing
those two things in succession. I think they're about 4 years apart.
Yeah.
From that point, from after that second incident, things got tight between after 2001 because everybody was a little tense in America.
Yeah.
During that time, and then the mood of the country changed after that Super Bowl thing too, where the lawyers then corporately got involved with our show in Baltimore, and it changed dramatically. We double think everything before we did it.
Yeah.
We used to just do it. Now we were like,
and now it's even harder.
And also at that same time, corporations were taking over radio more and buying up a lot of stations, and lawyers were getting involved.
Right.
So I think that was those 3 years were like the bellwether. I saw the tide shift dramatically.
Now, when I started talking tunes back in 90, whatever it was, over at Eagle 97, with a couple of guys, we got free reign from our general manager at that time, Bob Bolton, who has passed away. But
I remember Bob,
yeah, and he gave us free reign, so we pretty much did the Sunny FM thing all over again, maybe even more. Because it was mostly talk, there wasn't very many tunes. Luckily, we got maybe one tune an hour in, So, but it was kind of nice to do that again, to bring that back, because I got a few of the same people that we did it with originally, and now we got, of course, Britta Cleveland with us. We've got Kathy Eckert and Bob Eckers is with us, so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Britta was just starting at Sunny when I left, I think.
Yeah,
she had worked there for a few months just before I left.
She did real well here in Muskegon for a long time, and then of course Grand Rapids. But but corporate radio kind of swallowed her up, just like everybody else. So I'm glad that she decided to join us to have a little fun too. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So hey, anytime you want to come too, you're welcome to come. So I don't know. We got anything else you wanna mention or you want to talk about?
No, just I always. That's why I kind of came back to Michigan when I got fired in Baltimore. I got let go. Or, they didn't renew my contract. And I started thinking, because I was going through a divorce at the time, I was thinking, and my kids are all grown.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I can move anywhere in the country I want to. And so I thought, I always enjoyed West Michigan. That's why I came back to Grand Rapids. You know how the winters are. So it was like below zero out. And I was doing afternoons and Dave was doing evenings. And we had an intercom system. You remember the intercom system? Well, when you turned your mic up, it muted everything in that studio except the intercom. So if somebody, and back then, after the sales staff left at 5 o'clock, the door was locked. And so you had to buzz to get in, and it would buzz in the studio. So I was on the air doing my last break, and I hear the intercom buzz, and I look up, and they had a camera. I saw Dave standing at the door, and he's got a bag of fast food. So I'm on the air at the time, and I said, the buzzer's ringing, somebody's at the door. Oh, look, it's Dave. He's got some food for me. And I click on the intercom and go, hey, Dave, did you bring some Burger King for me too? He goes, open the door. Live on the air.
Yeah.
So I'm mortified at that point in time because the F word just went out over the air. I say, all right, took a break, went to commercials, pot down the mic. The phone line's lit up. It just lit up like a Christmas tree. It's just I think we had 5 lines coming in and they're all blinking. Yeah. And I'm like, oh God. So I started answering the phone and I let him in. He comes in and I go answer the phone and it's all these young teenage boys going, hey, that was pretty cool. Let's do it again. And Dave comes in the room and I said, I should have told you were on the air, but you just swore over the radio. And he goes, I did? I said, listen, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Well, and nobody ever said anything to us about it.
No,
so no one complained.
Yeah, well, I was sharing a story too when I was at Sunny FM. Mark Brookie Frost had the classic rock show that he would do every week. You remember that?
Yeah.
And everybody had to fill in because Mark had something going on or whatever. But it was a 20-year reunion, and I did this Woodstock show, and I don't know where I got my facts and figures from, but they were all wrong. It was just totally bogus, and nobody said anything, nobody cared. But one thing you mentioned about Sunny FM too, we had 5 lines. I mean, we had calls all the time. I mean, even 3 o'clock in the morning, we'd get phone calls from people. They'd be listening, So
yeah. Yeah, it was. Well, I think when you put callers on the air a lot, like we did, I think that people it kind of activates things, and they always think that they can call and talk to you and tell you something.
Yeah, and they usually did.
one more good story. One time we were on the air, and I can't remember if it was Ron or Dave. I had one of the 2 producers. We were on the air, and we were talking about the New Kids on the Block. They were big at the time, and my producer says something to the effect that Danny Wood looks like a horse. He's got a big giant face. And so we go off the air and his phone lights up and we're talking to this girl and she's like 14 years old. I swear to God. Well, I know she's 14 years old because I asked her. And she says, hey, she's really upset that we called one of the New Kids on the Block a name. And I'm trying to talk her down because she's
really upset.
She's upset.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, my sisters thought Leif Garrett was cool, David Cassidy was cool, but they grew up to be schmucks. We're doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. And she says, 14-year-old girl says to me, I'm going to effing kill you. Click, hangs up the phone. Well, we had a policy, like you can't, if somebody threatens somebody, you have to tell the police. You can't let it go. And I'm looking at Dave and we're like, I'm not going to call the police. We should call it. Yeah, we got to call the police. Because it was a death threat. She threatened to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought the police would come over. We'll all have a good laugh about this, and that'll be that. But the cop comes over, and he's deadly serious. He says, we take all death threats seriously. So that night I'm laying awake thinking, how can a 14-year-old girl possibly kill me? Is she going to throw like a Hello Kitty backpack full of explosives in the car? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And, of course, we all know after I had 14-year-old girls of my own, and we all know that they talk about you behind your back until you kill yourself. That's how that's how a kid kills you.
Yeah, I know that, too. Yeah, I'm having 7. Yeah, I know that.
You have 7 kids?
Yeah, with my first marriage, 3, and then we had 4 more when I married my wife, Terry. So,
God bless you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
I'm
3
still here,
that raped
too.
me ragged.
You were talking about that Nasty Man, Mark Rich. That's what I remember him and I were having a discussion on Sunny FM about some woman that came and scratched his new truck everywhere. He had just had it redone and everything, and somebody just keyed it everywhere. So we were talking about, but that's what happened over there too. We used to get that a lot.
Yeah, I think I bought that truck off of him too. Was it an S10? I bought an S10 pickup off him. Yeah. It lasted a while, too.
Yeah, somebody keyed that one.
I had a couple female producers. One was Julie. She was pretty tough. She could take it. But there was one that, she was a little mild-mannered. Yeah. A good story about her. She came in one day looking just, like, sick. Yeah. And I'm like, what's the matter? She said she was living with her boyfriend at the time, I think, and he couldn't find his 16-foot python that he kept in a room.
Oh.
I'm like, your boyfriend keeps it? Yeah, there was one room in their house that was devoted to a python that was 16 foot long.
Wow.
And it was gone in the dead of winter. I'm like, I just remember talking to her on the air about it, going, I'm just fascinated by this. How do you feed it? Do you just throw a rabbit in there, shut the door? Yeah, I think they eventually found it. But, man, that was like, she was like, because she's worried about the neighborhood pets.
Yeah. Eat all the small dogs and cats.
Yeah. I'm like, how do you lose that?
Yeah.
So we left the door open.
Well, sir, I really appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you having me. It was a great time at 104.5, man.
Yeah.
Back on that. And I often thought about this. I thought, I don't know if I appreciated it while I was in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it now. I think there were times when I did, but there were times, because I was always an anxious person and I always was worried about, whether I sounded good or
Yeah.
how good I was. Because
yeah.
I always had insecurities. I think anybody in entertainment does.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. When you first start, especially with me when I was first starting out, that was I was always worried about how I sounded doing this right, or now I could care less.
Nah, I know it.
Yeah, I was like, I come on, have a good time, and if I sound like crap, oh well.
Yeah,
there's another day.
But you have more fun. I think I enjoy it more now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think it's a part of growing old. You just you give 0 Fs anymore after a while. You know. No, it's a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
And what you said too about Sunny FM, that was true. It kind of changed me around too, as far as what radio should have been, but wasn't always. Because I remember I went from Sunny FM to MUS, I think it was. And that was quite a difference because, like I say, that was pre-programmed. You said exactly what you needed to say. You said the weather exactly the way it was supposed to be said. Mm-hmm. And not that I'm saying I didn't like it. I really did love working at MUS. It was just that it was nothing like what I gave from Sunny FM.
Yeah.
So,
and I was fortunate that I never experienced that in my life. Until I don't think I ever have.
Well, that's because you're one of the funniest jocks I've ever met. That's for sure. I mean, even though we didn't work together at Sunny FM, we still had a great time doing goofy things. At Pierre Marquette or Peggy White Nights or Comedy Night. You emceed over there. That was that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I can remember that the first time at that Comedy Night because I still do stand up. I still do stand-up comedy. That was the first time I ever did it. And the first time you got an audience laughing with you, God, what a head rush.
Yeah.
And I remember that was at the Hilton. It was the first time.
Well, I probably won't use this story, but the reason I asked you to come over there, and the reason I talked the general manager or whatever to get you, is I went up there to introduce the comedian, and like 3 times. And all 3 times they came back and had to have jokes about my arm.
Oh, no.
Who called me the Elephant Man and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, the great thing about that, though, was that the crowd knew me so well, because I've been there for 5 years. Mm-hmm. They knew me so well that they just kind of heckled them on that whole joke, So that was kind of cool. But then I thought,
it's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
I know. And so I figured, well, I don't need this anymore. We'll see if we can get somebody. And then I thought about you, and you were willing. And
yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad you did, because that's where I got the first Jones to do it in the first place. And,
it was fun.
I've enjoyed it since. Well, thank you, man, for inviting me.
Yeah, now we get to take pictures.
Okay, cool.
Studio, and he's obviously well aware of my limited wardrobe because, hey, Eric, step up to the mic there. He brought me this really cool shirt, and it's got, you want to describe it, or would you rather?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of protesters. They get their finger up their nose, and they call it a picket line.
I love this. Where'd you find this shirt?
Oh, in Grand Rapids.
You remember the store?
No, I don't know right off.
Okay, it's great, though.
We don't want to plug them anyway. No.
An entire line of people with their fingers up their noses. It's like a corporate staff meeting at this place.
Hey!
No, just kidding.
Hey, I still work here. I can't allow that.
Yeah, it's not their noses where the fingers would be up, so... sorry. And there's a card that goes with it. But I won't read it over the air yet. Because I want to preview it first, so we don't get in trouble. Hi, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
How you guys doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Hey, listen, just wanted to wish you the best of all in your future endeavors here.
Thank you.
And for all your skeptical audiences out there who are kind of hesitant on Jojo Girard there, I think they ought to give him a shot at it. You never know. You never can feel anybody else's shoes, especially yours, because I heard you got big feet, but that's the point.
So do I. It's pretty big, too.
But, no, I think they ought to give Jojo a try here. I think he's going to work out okay.
I was gonna tell everybody about the wonderful Sunny Slammers, but Michael's our official bench warmer of the Sunny Slammers. And so how bad are the Sunny Slammers doing anyway?
Well, I don't know. I think their record is 2-5 or something.
2-5? That's not too bad. I mean,
well, it is because they've lost their last 5 games.
5 in a row. That's right. They've lost 5 straight games in a row. They won their first 2. I remember I was always saying how wonderful they were because they were undefeated. Then Holland came along and kicked their butt, and after that it was history.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time. But come on out to the game. That's Monday night, right?
Yeah, Monday it's going to be for the McDonald's employees of McDonald's at Muskegon Community College at 7 p.m.
That's definitely that's a good cause. The Ronald McDonald House.
Exactly. But are you going to be playing this time, or are you going to be warming the bench again?
I think they're going to be giving. I think they gave. I saw a memo, and had my name on it in regards to something to do with towels.
Towel boy. Okay, that'll work.